Good morning. I am Dr. Kiran Chaudhary. As a coordinator of MCT Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, Mumbai, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan Cell, I feel privileged and happy to welcome all the dignitaries, Honorable Mr.Sunil Chavan IAS, respected Dr.R. Ramesh, our beloved Principal Dr. Sanjay Bokade, our Vice Principal Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh, all heads of the department and other officers on the occasion of inaugural ceremony of 3 days national online workshop on Graminvikas. Furthermore, I extend a warm welcome to all the faculty members, students and the workshop participants. A very warm welcome to one and all. The UBA cell, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, Mumbai, envisioned this workshop on Graminvikas, enabling self-reliant economy through techno-social innovation in a perspective of post-COVID-19 rural India, with an objective of initiating the ideation process and focusing R&D initiatives and innovations for enabling rural Indian people to sustain numerous challenges created by COVID-19 pandemic or geopolitical situation. While planning this workshop, we kept open doors to students, faculty members, research scientists, innovators, industry professionals for materializing the objective of this workshop. It's our holy tradition to worship our goddess Saraswati before any important event. So let's dedicate a prayer to Pa Saraswati. I would like to request Professor Yogita to recite Saraswati Vandana. Over to Professor Yogita. Thank you, madam. Before we start the program, we would like to introduce our institute. Mandra Charitable Trust, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology is established in 1992. It is located in Warsaw, Andheri West, Mumbai. Institute offers 5 undergraduate programs, 3 postgraduate programs, and 3 PhD programs. Our institute is accredited by NBA and NAT. For that, we will take a virtual tour of our institute. So I request Professor Yogita to play the video. Thank you, madam. Our institute has been selected as a participating institute under Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 2.0 on 2nd October 2018. MCT Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, Mumbai, UBSL has constantly been working towards a wholesome rural development through techno-social initiatives. As a part of UBA 2.0, RJIT has adopted 3 clusters of 5 villages from the 3 districts of Maharashtra, Ratnagiri, Raigad and Jalgaon. We have successfully carried out the studies of living conditions in adopted villages and assessment of local problems and needs to work out the possibilities of technological interventions and satisfy the needs to improve the processes for implementation of various government schemes, along with the preparation of workable action plans for the selected villages. We have implemented rainwater harvesting project in one of the villages. We are in the process of doing some projects like food processing unit for self-help groups, digital school management, solar pump, etc. Some of the villages and company has partially sponsored this project. For this information, you can have a glance on UBSL activities in 2018-19. So I request Professor Yogita to play the video of UBA activities. Over to Professor Yogita. Thank you, madam. For post-COVID-19 crisis, we need to rejuvenate and revise our rural development strategies, drive our focus on place-based economic opportunities, better services, and rural infrastructure upgradation, and ensuring security and dignity of labor. Post-independence, India somehow could not focus on rural world and targeted its focus on urbanization and industrialization, which resulted in growth in urban population, helpless migration, and several social culture issues that we faced during the lockdowns. At this point, we don't know how long we will need to wait contain COVID-19. Therefore, we are looking at a new normal shaping up and being internalized by people who will learn to adapt to new process of work and life. In the next 3 days, we will focus on conceptualization of rural innovation in Indian context, rural-urban linkages and socio-economic development, convergence and larger role for self-help groups. Apart from these, daily, in the beginning of all sessions, we have arranged keynote speeches by all the famous and eminent personalities. Our goal is to build effectiveness of the topic as it's a need of the hour. I am confident that this workshop will bring some solution for these problems area. We are grateful to you all who have accepted our invitation to be a part of this breakthrough seeking and trend setting event. We are overwhelmed by the responses we got for this workshop. We have received more than 1,000 responses from all the participating institutes of all over India. All the participants are requested to join all the sessions well in time so that we can avoid the technical difficulties. We have a very great visionary and dynamic principal, Dr. Sanjay Bokare. Sir is the chairman of Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering, III Mumbai chapter. Sir is a member of Board of Studies of Mechanical Engineering in University of Mumbai. Now I request our principal sir to deliver the welcome address. Over to principal sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kiran Chaudhary. The guest of today's function, Sri Sunil Chavan sir and Dr. Ramesh, all the heads of department who joined this program, all the staff members, teaching and non-teaching members who joined this program, all the students members in this meeting of inaugural function, and everyone watching us on the Zoom as well as on the YouTube. I welcome you all for this workshop, and I'm very much thankful to our guests, Sunil Chavan sir and Dr. Ramesh, for being with us on this occasion. Your presence has made this event a grand event, sir. I was immensely happy when Dr. Chaudhary proposed about this workshop and the theme of the workshop, which is in particular the Graminvikas. This is something which has to happen in a big sense, a big meaning, in a big scale, a huge magnitude. I am quite influenced by the thoughts which Mahatma Gandhi has spoken to the people, that India resides in its villages, and if India has to be uplifted, if India has to develop, then its villages have to develop. And if we look at the villages and the facilities over there, you'll come across that there are plenty of difficulties where our citizens are actually facing at that place. Because of the location many times, or otherwise because of the resources not available there, everything is in the developing stage, no doubt. Government is also keen in developing the village zones. But when we think about ourselves as a citizen of this nation, of this great nation, it is in our awesome responsibility to contribute something from our side. And if we happen to be some technological institution, then we can certainly have something to be done from our side for the villages. And I really appreciate the efforts of the UBA team who did some magnificent projects in the places like Ratnagiri, the villages close to Ratnagiri, and all those villages they have adopted the water harvesting project and all others. And in particular, when this workshop is happening during the days of COVID effect, there is, I think, a significant responsibility that is coming on our head. If we look at the village and the difficulties there. I was just speaking to one of my friend yesterday, who happens to be a headmaster in one of the school in a village. And he was asking me about how is all teaching learning going on for the schools there in Mumbai, where my daughter is there. Then I told him that her school has been actually started, and their classes are going on online. The teacher comes on her laptop, and everything goes ahead, and that is being taught. Maybe it might not be that effective, which otherwise it can be through a physical mode, but then fine, it's absolutely all right. Then how about you people there? And he was saying that you just forget about any online teaching here in this village. People do not have smartphones, or people do not have laptop, or people even cannot afford to have some data also, data to be consumed, the expenses related to this. This is the status somewhere. Status in terms of the technological aspects, or in terms of the availability of the internet facilities there, then it is really a responsibility of all those coming up engineers or the engineers, where they should provide the technological solution which will be really very economical and can deliver education at all those remote places. So I would appeal our UBA team to actually look into this thing for at least those villages which has been adopted by you, where you can give them some easygoing solution, economical solution, where the education can be facilitated there through a different kind of mode, where we will be first ensuring about the safety of the students out of this pandemic and rest of the things. So I thank our guests for today's function, and I also thank all the participants. I congratulate and I appreciate all the efforts of Dr. Kiran Chaudhary and her UBA team for hosting this wonderful program. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Kiran Chaudhary.
Thank you very much, sir. We are grateful to our principal for his words of encouragement. His able guidance has always encouraged us. I thank him for his kindness, his interest, and his vision, and continued support. Now I would like to request Professor Chakradev to introduce today's great personality, Mr. Sunil Chavan IAS. I know this one difficult, but thought that he is a man of virtue and simplicity. Over to Professor Chakradev.
Good morning, you all. I am Jnaneshwar Kishanrao Chakradev. I feel privileged to introduce very eminent administrative leader and IAS officer, Maharashtra cadre of 2007 batch, Honorable Sunil S. Chavan. Native of Bid, Maharashtra, and Maharashtra cadre IAS officer of 2007 batch, and is known for serving several key positions in government administration and is popular for his visionary leadership. He holds an MSc in Agriculture with specialization in soil and water management from Vasantrao Naik Marathwada Agricultural University, Parbhani. At present, he is contributing as Joint Managing Director, MSEDCL, Aurangabad. During his earlier tenure, he served in several Maharashtra districts like Jalgaon, Nasik, Navi Mumbai, Mantralaya, Palghar, Thane, Ratnagiri. I am happy to state some of his notable positions as Deputy CEO, ZP, Project Director, DRDA, Assistant Commissioner, Development, Deputy Commissioner, Municipal Corporation, Deputy Secretary, Water Conservation, Rural Development, Additional CEO of several projects. His interest areas are poverty alleviation, self-help groups, water conservation measures, tree plantation and conservation, social sector schemes, urban sector, smart city development, housing, solid waste management, and rural employment schemes. His major achievements include implemented massive program of CNB construction in series in drought-affected district of Maharashtra, plantation of and conservation of 5 lakh trees in Thane Corporation, redesigned social sector schemes for women and PWDs in Thane Corporation, plantation of 12,000 hectares mango and cashew in MGNRGS in Ratnagiri. He presented to Honorable President of India, Sri Ram Nath Kovind, in August 2017, a plan on silent implementation of development plan in Thane Corporation. He is a daredevil officer and is popularly known for his demolition drive, where he removed 18,000 illegal buildings and structures, and his case study is available on YouTube. On behalf of the Institute, organizing committee, and all participants, I request Honorable Sunil Chavan sir to deliver his address and guide us all. Thank you. Over to Honorable Sunil Chavan IAS, Maharashtra.
Namaskar, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir, it's audible. Audible.
Good morning to one and all. Today, we are in national workshop on Graminvikas organized by Bokade, Principal RGIT, Mr. Sanjay Deshmukh, Vice Principal. Today's resource person, Dr.R. Ramesh. He is expert in capacity building, strategy for convergence and implementation, various government schemes, NIRD, Hyderabad, and all the respected teaching staff of RGIT, my dear student friends. I am very glad to be amongst you because earlier I was District Collector Ratnagiri. Dr. Kiran Chaudhary with her team of vibrant students, they came and meet me in Collector's chamber. I could see many promising faces and they just want to do something for the villages. And now in the form of this today's workshop, there will be a brainstorming session on Graminvikas. Rural life has been stuck up in its ways and means from centuries. Since they have less education and knowledge to come up with innovative and efficient solutions so far. All the things they were managing, in Marathi we used to call it as a jugad. But now this is where these young and brilliant minds from RGIT, they are together for UBA. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister of India. Basically, this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is idea of Honorable Prime Minister. Name itself is...
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Can you start your video?
Ma'am, I have tried, but there is something.
Okay, sir. No problem.
It has started, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it started.
Okay.
Yes, your video started, sir. No problem.
Yeah. So name is self-explanatory. Unnat Bharat Abhiyan means definitely we are thinking of developed India. And basically we will be putting our intellect, our expertise in rural India for development of rural community at large. As I have told earlier, in November 2014, this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan has been launched by Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development. Basically, this is an idea of some intellectual teaching staff from IIT Delhi. They came together with RU, TAG, and some of the VOs and some of the government agencies. They thought of this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and this is the brainchild of IIT Delhi. And now, what is the vision about Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? Because we will be using knowledge change in RD sector processes to build the structure for inclusive India. Dear friends, this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, this mission, where what government aims from Unnat Bharat Abhiyan? Government aims that higher education institutes like RGIT and many such institutes, they should come forward with their intellect, and they should put their intellect in solving rural problem at large, because rural people, they used to face many challenges and issues. To find out appropriate solution and for sustainable growth and development. My dear friends, when we are discussing about RD sector, basically I am man from RD sector, as I have told during my earlier talks when I was discussing with Mr. Ramesh. RD sector as pan India level, roughly 70% of population, they are living in rural India. When we thought of Maharashtra, it is 55%. Occupationally, at India level also, and in Maharashtra, their main occupation is agriculture. Means whatever inputs or whatever thoughts will be putting in rural India, basically they should support more in agrarian sector and agrarian and allied sectors. Secondly, when we talk about GDP, 17% of GDP is from agriculture at pan-India level. My dear friends, what are the disconnects between urban and rural sector? Basically, there is a lot of inequality in education, health, basic amenities, employment, transportation, and etc. So to overcome all this and to stop the migration, because in introductory speech, Dr. Bokade also and Kiran ma'am also, she talked about migration. Certainly, when this COVID-19 started, we all are discussing and reading in newspaper, there is a lot of migration from urban to rural. Urban to rural. I repeat again, urban to rural, because earlier these rural people, they travel to urban places or cities for livelihood. But during this pandemic, this reverse migration started, and it has created a lot of chaos, lot of difficulties, many traffic problems. So, and we all government officers, and with the help of all academicians like you, NGOs, we could help them out. But to resolve this issue permanently, this is the only solution, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan and transfer of technology from this higher institute to the rural areas. Certainly to make our villages sufficient, self-sufficient, give them knowledge, solve their problems, and make their life comfortable in their villages itself. If we do this migration from rural to urban, certainly it will reduce. I am not saying, or I am not making argument it will 100% stop, but certainly it will reduce. Because in urban areas, when these people, they are coming to urban area, they are staying in slums, in a very pathetic condition where there is hardly cleanliness, safe drinking water, transportation, electricity problem, livelihood problem, and in COVID-19 pandemic, major issue of social distancing, this has created a havoc. So I once again thank RGIT management, principal sir, vice principal, all the teaching staff, Kiran ma'am, and my vibrant dear friends for thought of this UBI, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and helping Ratnagiri district at large. When I was in Ratnagiri, your team came to me, then we could select this Chiplun Taluka, and as ma'am was mentioning about Triktoli, then Mundetar, Chiplun, Mundetar, Savarda, there are 3-4 villages. There were certain problem of these villages. Your team went to those villages, they studied, they prepared some action plan, and they came to me, if I am not wrong, in the month of January 2020, they discussed in my chamber what are the findings. Then I could give them some solutions, because every day I used to meet many people. I used to meet politicians, I used to meet the NGO people, I used to meet some of the self-help group people. So we had a nice interaction. And during this interaction, I could judge these young tender minds, they have come up with a very, very good solutions. When before coming to this session, when I was just discussing with my daughter about how many are such initiatives at pan India level or in Maharashtra, she cited me for 5 examples. My daughter, she is BTech in computers and MBA finance. One of the examples I could tell, Mr. Yogesh Nagar. This is again a vibrant student, young boy from Barnes in Rajasthan. His age is 18, studying in 12th standard. He devised a remote to run a tractor, very small device to run a tractor. What made him to devise this remote? Because his father earlier was driving a tractor. Within course of the days, he started ailing. There was some stomach pain. His father was unable to drive the tractor. This young mind of Yogesh, he thought of devising some remote control which can drive a tractor. So he devised the remote, and this remote can drive. This remote can work from 1.5 kilometers, and that remote can drive a tractor in his field. See, this need gave birth to the discovery. Secondly, this issue has been broadcasted on Discovery Channel and very well appreciated. Another one example, I would like to quote Govt. This is again a young mind devised a simple, affordable milking machine for cows and buffaloes. This machine can draw 1.5 liter of milk per minute. So drawing the milk through machine, it is always beneficial. As during my course of introduction, Mr. Chakradev, he has told you that I am postgraduate in agriculture. See, if we are not touching the teats, certainly it is hygienic. So this machine, this found to be boon to his family and the villages. Third example, because with these examples, the tender minds or the ignited mind, vibrant students from RGIT, they will think about some rural machineries with some business process engineering, with some new techniques, some new designs, backup from technical staff, principal sir, and certainly some new solutions. We could come out with some new solutions, and we could make the life of the villagers or citizens at large during this COVID-19 comfortable one. Third example, Amit Agarwal. Again, this is a young student. He fabricated a pulley with brake to be applied to the well. Earlier in his villages, women folk used to fetch the water by pulling up. So with this pulley, their miseries have lessened. Secondly, again one example, M.J. Joseph. He is from Kerala. He devised coconut tree climbing aid. See, I have served almost for 2 years in Ratnagiri. In Marathwada or in Aurangabad or anywhere else, we used to have only 2-3 coconut trees. This is a ceremonial plantation. We used to take out 5, 10 or 100 coconuts. But in Ratnagiri, it is taken on commercial basis. So this machine, this is found to be boon. And one more example I would like to quote. This is example from Maharashtra. Gopal Bhise. He is a young student from Jalgaon. He innovated bicycle-driven weeding machine. Because for farmers, weeding practice is a regular practice. So this machine again found to be very much useful. And friends, during course of this lockdown, many times we as officers, you all, Mr. Bokade or Mr. Deshmukh, everybody is at home. My wife started giving me a job of peeling this garlic. So I thought of devising garlic peeling machine. So this is just a raw thought in my mind. What could be done to do garlic peeling through machine without losing taste, without losing aroma of the garlic. So such kind of small innovations. Whenever I was discussing with the students of RGIT in my chamber, already I have told them, don't thought of doing very great innovations. Do some small things. In the villages, what is happening? Village community, there is street lights, and street lights are controlled by a button. When this Gram Panchayat peon or Gram Panchayat worker, he used to on and off the street lights. If our students or through this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, if we could put some sensors or some machines whereby with some flux of light, these lights are on and off, this will make a difference. Secondly, in villages, there is a water tank. We used to fill this water tank through the pumping machinery. If we could put some sensor or some machine whereby if this ESR, elevated storage reservoir, or GSR, if it is full, automatically it will shut. This will reduce electricity bill. This will reduce the extra financial burden on Gram Panchayats, and it will be very useful innovation for the villages. There are many such inventions that can be done. One more thing, in this COVID-19 scenario, what we all are saying, keep social distance. Then working scenarios has been to be devised in a different way. A lot of business process engineering needs to be done. So what is to be done for office management? What can be done for vegetable markets? What can be done for fruit markets? What all to be done for grocery shops, management in grocery shop, to put more safety and security to the buyers and as well as to the shopkeepers. My dear friends, I'm very much confident Dr. Chaudhary and her team is vibrant enough. You have tender minds. Certainly, if we thought of in this direction, definitely we all could make a big change. Lastly, I would like to say, if you are eager to see something is around you, think of a problem, positive mindset, that problem can be solved. Friends, it is important not to be satisfied. If you feel satisfied at any stage of life, any stage of life, you will never think of potential solutions. I again remember old proverb, necessity is a mother of inventions. Every rural innovation contributes for well-being of rural people, is a great effort for nation building. And I, as a ex-collector Ratnagiri and a joint managing director Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company, I am confident every step taken during this 3 days workshop at RGIT Mumbai will certainly give a new ray of hope to Maharashtra and India as such. Because as during course of introduction, they have told around 1,000 participants, they are participating online. So this thought will be shared with 1,000 participants, and certainly some will be coming out with some new good solution and a ray of hope. Well, definitely, Honorable Prime Minister, he used to talk about Make in India, Stand Up India, and now new terminology, Atmanirbhar Bharat. With this UBA initiative and RGIT's team, certainly this will be one step towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Inventions and discoveries are the outcome of creative minds. Lastly, I would like to tell Dr. APJ Kalam's 4 lines. I always tell to the students, Dr. Kalam, he is our ex-president. Dr. Kalam used to say, learning gives creativity. Learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. And again, before concluding, I would like to share one share of Nida Fazli. You might have seen one picture, Sarfarosh. Nida Fazli used to say, फासला नजरों का धोखा भी तो हो सकता है, फासला नजरों का धोखा भी तो हो सकता है, हाथ बढ़ा के देखो जो चमके वो चांद भी तो हो सकता है. Thank you. I wish you all success to this workshop. Thank you. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Jai Hind. It was great.
Thank you very much, sir. We are grateful for your time and your efforts you took to share your thoughts and experiences. We are delighted with your thoughts. You have given so many examples of young minds. Really, it will be helpful for young minds. Your enthusiasm is contagious, and it was our great pleasure today to have you among us. I, on the behalf of management, own behalf, express my heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for gracing this event. Thank you once again for accepting our invitation and sparing the time despite of your busy schedule. Now, I would like to request Professor Chakradhar to introduce today's resource person, Dr.R. Ramesh. His expertise is in capacity building, strategies for convergence, and implementation of various schemes. Over to Professor Chakradhar.
Good morning once again. I'm really happy to introduce resource person for session 1, day 1, Dr. R. Ramesh. He is contributing as an associate professor in the Center for Rural Infrastructure in National Institute of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, popularly known as NIRD and PR, Hyderabad. It's a training and research institution under the Ministry of Rural Development and the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Government of India. He completed his doctoral degree in rural development at Gandhigram Rural University, Tamil Nadu. Initially, he worked in Gandhigram and the Rural Development Center of the Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, for some period before joining the current position. He represents NIRDPR as a member of the subject expert group on capacity building for rural development under the UBA program of the MHRD, Government of India. Dr. Ramesh is on editorial of the Journal of Rural Development published by NIRDPR. His professional experience spans more than 2 decades, including contribution to TDS Netherlands and Bahir Dar University, Ethiopia. His areas of specialization include drinking water and sanitation, proposal writing, strategic planning, log frames, development research, communication for development reportage. His several publications, of which select list is of 8 books, more than 25 articles, 5 case studies, 10 handbook manuals, and several reviews. His current R&D activities include equitable distribution of drinking water, solid waste management in rural areas, local drinking water governance in GPs with RO plants and water ATMs, sanitation behavior assessment, use of friends. His experienced development professional with demonstrated history of working in project proposal writing, log frame development, skilled in academic writing, strategic planning, project planning, and training. He played a key role in introducing a master's program in rural development management in Bahir Dar University, Ethiopia. For his remarkable contribution, he won the World Bank India Country Level Development Marketplace Award 2004 for Gandhigram Trust. Sir, our institute and the UBSL RGIT, as well as entire participants of this session, are eagerly waiting for listening to your expertise and experiences. I request you to take charge of the session and begin your vision and experience sharing. Over to you, Dr. Ramesh.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Chakradev, for that elaborate introduction. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I was first of all thank Madam Kiran Chaudhary for inviting me to this webinar, and I appreciate we have so many people online watching this, and I am really proud of this. And I must thank the principal, the vice principal for their address, and also I would say that Sri Sunil Chavan IAS officer, he has set the right tone and an excellent tone for this program, and that way he has aided my work in this webinar. So happy to be here. And just at the outset, I thought I would tell you that in this 45 minutes or whatever time that we will be discussing about the conceptualization, or whatever topics that we will be talking about. So I would say that I am more towards UBA, and UBA is about moving from ideation to action. It is about moving from concept to practice. So although my discussion is going to be on the concepts, and more than the concepts, I think I will go more towards action, more towards practice, because that is what is required when you want to practice UBA, when you want to see that it gets translated on the ground. So that way, I think I can get started with this presentation. I have a small presentation, a series of pictures only. Let's get started with the presentation. Let me try sharing it. Can I share my presentation? Can I share screen from here, madam?
Yes, sir, you can.
So please carry on.
If I share, it will be easy for me to move the slide to my pace.
You can share.
But it says host disabled.
No, sir.
I'm trying to share screen. It is saying host disabled screen sharing.
Can you try now?
No, sir. It keeps saying the same things. Yes, yes. It has come.
Are you able to?
Yes.
Yeah, I think yes.
Yes. Sir.
Yes. So that's the topic for the discussion today. Conceptualization of rural innovations. It's here. Rural innovations in Indian context. And when we talk about rural innovations, we can think in terms of technical innovations and social innovations. When we talk about technical innovations, it includes not only electricity, computer science application, or mechanical engineering, but also innovations in agriculture, irrigation, and basic essential services such as rural water supply and sanitation systems. When we talk about social innovations come, I would say, from fictional stories into which we infuse life, often with set of rules and social norms. And this is something that we will discuss about later, because I call social innovations as fictional stories and into which we infuse life. And why I say this is we will come to know as we progress. And in social innovations, if required, we write the rules into these stories, and if required, we also make use of the lawyers if we have to give life to that. So we'll see why I say all this about social innovation. We'll see as we progress. I think we will start with some technical innovations. In social and technical innovations, whatever it be, there are local innovations, like we say indigenous technical knowledge, ITK as they call it. And there are also introduced innovations. We have local innovations. If we go to any village, you would have seen some kind of local innovations. Maybe you got surprised to see the kind of innovations people have there and they are using, but not many people outside that village know about it. Or in a cluster of village, they are having that practice, but not many people know it outside that village. So there are local knowledge, and there are also introduced innovations, such as innovations from laboratories transferred through technology transformation of the government, or by some external agencies such as an NGO. It can be an NGO or UNDP. Some external agency introduced some innovation. So this is how we can look at that. So for my session would be like this: our understanding of and involvement in technical innovations and social innovations, and how to take it to the benefit of the larger society. Whatever innovations we talk about, it can be technical or social, whatever. The ultimate aim is that we want to see that this benefits the larger society, and me, how I find myself relevant to the society. This is about being self-critical. When we are practicing something, we call ourselves, we are professionals in certain field of specialization. Like it can be water, sanitation, or it can be electrical engineering, it can be mechanical, whatever you are in. So you see in a self-critical way yourself, how I find myself relevant to the society, and how community engagement by higher education institutions can further the rural development agenda of UBA or Government of India. And then funding and convergence possibilities. This is also something that I want to show in this session about the funding, because we know Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, it gives about 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. with which it may not be possible to implement whatever plans you are making there. But I would want to show also that possibilities are there. There is quite a lot of possibilities, and I would want to show that also. So funding and convergence possibilities with the schemes and programs of the central and state governments. This is what we will be seeing. And here we have this plow, perhaps one of the earliest technical innovations the Homo sapiens or humans found. Here, from a wooden plow to where we have reached today, we are able to see these are innovations. It came perhaps because of the contribution of science and technology institutions like yours here, those who are participating, right? So we have moved from this plow that was primitive to the tools that we have today or the machineries we have today. This is one. And the traditional primitive irrigation systems we have, we are able to recollect whatever we saw in our childhood in our villages, the traditional and primitive way of irrigating the land we had, right? From here, where we have moved today, and we have really come a long way. And when we go to villages, this is what we see today, that we have pump sets, we have solar electrified pump sets, and also we have drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation. So we have really come a long way. All these are innovations, right? Technical innovations. And somebody ideated it. It was incubated, right? It was at the conceptual stage with somebody. And then from there, we have moved on to experiment with that. And then now that we see that all over these are being used, right? So, I mean, these are reaching the people, right? So technical, when we talk about technical innovation, this is something that I am not tired of repeating wherever I talk about this innovations. Energy generation to light a bulb in a non-grid tribal village. Like you are cooking, for example, you see a stove here, you are cooking, let us say you are cooking some rice there. And through this fire, you are generating energy to cook. Now the fire that you are generating just only enough to be able to cook that rice, or there is some energy going waste? There is some energy going waste, right? There is extra energy generated, right, in the fire here now. I found one innovator, like our Sunil Chavan ji was mentioning about. So one of the innovators, this man has found that why is this extra energy going waste? It is generating more energy. And so this man has found a device where he is capturing the extra energy to be able to bulb a light there. So this is of use to the tribal villages, in non-grid tribal villages, where when they cook, they can there is energy generated, and this extra energy generated is stored in a battery, and this is used for 4 or 5 hours for lighting a bulb in the night, right? So there are several technical innovations which are mind-boggling really when you see, and these ideas converted into action, that's what we are talking about. So are we running short of innovations in our technical institutions? If we ask, no, absolutely no, right? We are not running short of innovations to talk about innovations, because what is required is how do we translate, how do we transfer these? That's what is required. So I would say that we do have a lot of innovations in innovative minds, both among teachers and students. There is no dearth of technical innovations as shown in the subsequent slides. But the problem is we lack observation when we visit villages. We go to villages, yes, we go to villages, we want to carry out whatever we want to carry out, we carry out. And we need to be a little more observant. So I say that we lack observation when we visit villages, and we lack empathy, we lack research-minded practice, we lack reflexivity. This is what is required when we work in UBA, right? So as we go, we'll see here, we have seen plenty like this. Rural Innovators Startup Conclave 2019, right? India International Science Festival, Research, Innovation and Science Empowering the Nation, Design Boot Camp, some technological universities. So we have seen this kind of banners all over coming, and there are several coming like this, right? For example, Technology Innovators Exhibitions, stalls, about 180 stalls in this particular one I visited, right? And there is here Dr. Kalam Innovation Gallery. So there is quite a lot of innovations coming, technical innovations coming, and you find a young boy with his innovation, and another innovation, another innovation, another innovation, right? Innovation. We have plenty of them. There is no depth of innovations. And what does an innovation do to the society? Yes, we have plenty of innovations, and in your college, and those of you who are participating now today here, you have also been having this as an annual event where you give ideas to the students, or the students come to you with ideas and you are giving them ideas, and this exhibition happens every year, maybe 2 days or 3 days, whatever period, right? So we have a lot of innovations, we have ideas, and we have them in the exhibitions. Yes, fine. And also we got prize, we won first prize, second prize, third prize. Yes, this is all happening. But the purpose is all these must happen in the village also. It must serve the purpose of a villager also. That's the purpose. So what does an innovation do to the society? One is it improves productivity, we can say, in whatever way it is, right? The yield improvement. Another, we can say that it enhances efficiency, saves time, and makes a non-remunerative occupation such as agriculture profitable or remunerative. Yes, it's possible. Reduces drudgery involved in a work by easing the process, improves the quality of the final product or the service. So this is what an innovation is supposed to serve. And if you go through this carefully, and you can also say that this is what a technical innovation is supposed to serve. This is what a technical innovation is supposed to do: improve productivity, enhance efficiency, save time, make a non-remunerative occupation into remunerative, reduce drudgery of the people involved in that work, improve the quality of the final product or service, right? So it should do that. But where are they all after the exhibition got all over, right? Where are they all? We saw all these innovations, we created all these, and yes, we were proud of that moment. But where are they all after the exhibition got over? Some technologies, yes, of course, definitely. Some technologies, technical innovations, they reach the rural people, but many don't. Why? That's the big question. And so my point is that there is no depth of taking place in this country, right? And the reach, the problem is about the reach. We made no efforts to enable them reach, transfer, or we made, instead of saying no efforts, I would say we made little effort to, not sufficient to enable them reach. That is one. And then social acceptability, unacceptability, that is also there. We think there is something technically excellent, but it is not user friendly. It is not user friendly, so a villager is not able to use it. So there is this element also, social acceptability. And there is also economics, right? You have created something, but it is very expensive, right? Yeah, so affordability, that's another question. And often it happens, we tend to discover solution to a non-existent problem also. This is another thing I found when I am also reviewing the UBA proposals. When I see the proposals, sometimes it occurs to me that this person is proposing a solution to a non-existent problem, like that. So these are things that we need to bear in mind when we want to work in the villages. And it is not just about conceptualization, it is about the relevance, it is about acceptability to the community, it is about affordability, right? It is about the relevance. Is it something that I am trying to solve to a problem that is existing, or I am trying to solve a non-existing problem? So do not identify a non-existent problem. This is one request I have. And if you take up a problem that people do not consider it a problem, you take up a problem, you want to solve that problem, but people consider it not a problem, they don't think it is a problem, then it will be difficult to implement. So we need to see the relevance of an innovation to a rural person, and let the people narrate their problems. When you visit the villages, let the people narrate their problems. From their list, you can identify the one you feel you can work on. Maybe you are specializing in a certain field, so maybe let them list out all the problems they have. From the list, you can find and choose the ones you feel comfortable about, that you can work in really. So this is because I thought it will be better to give a picture rather than a proposal. This is a project proposal, right? As specified in the project request. The one you see here is a project request. A project request went like this: for a swing, for a swing with these 3 ropes there, and it must be on a tree. And from a village, this is floated that as a proposal. This is a proposal that was floated. And when this reached a sponsor, somebody who is going to fund this, the sponsor understood it this way. This was the proposal, and the sponsor understood it this way. It was given to a senior analyst for designing, and he designed it this way. The senior analyst designed it this way. And then it was given to some project staff to implement and to understand what it is. And then the project staff understood the project this way. When they read the paper, it was all written in a paper, right? It was not a picture like this. So they understood it this way. And it was given to a contractor for installing, and the contractor installed it at the user site this way. And if you ask finally what the user wanted, and then when somebody who visited asked, it cannot be, I mean, it cannot be a proposal. What is this? You say you have cut the tree in the middle. You have cut the tree in the middle, and then there is swing here. And who wanted a proposal like this? Who floated a proposal like this? Did you discuss with the people what the people really wanted? All people wanted was that they wanted a one old tire. If there is an old tire, give us, and our children in the evening, they can swing. They can play in this tree. They can tie it, and then they can swing. They can use it like a swing. This is what the villagers wanted. And then we put all our mind there and our innovations there, and then finally give something that cannot be used. I mean, it cannot be like that. It should not be. Our proposal should not be like that. Our proposal should be in alignment with what people want, what they will really use. That's how our proposal should be. So the problem lies, I say, in our lack of observation and poor transfer. And we think observation and watching are one and the same. When we go to the village, we think observation and watching are one and the same. You watch a TV or a cinema, you don't talk to the TV, right? This is just watching. You watch a TV or cinema. But observation always involves a discussion. When you go to the village, if you say that you are observing, you must say that you are also discussing with the people. It is not just that you are watching, you are observing. At the same time, you are also discussing about the, whatever you are observing, you are also discussing with the people around there, from the local people there. So when we visit the village, what we observe, what we discuss about, what they show, what we see, how we reflect about it, all these matter. These are things that we need to bear in mind. So there is a saying in rural development, we say, what the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. That is the reason we need to go to the village. When we don't see something, our heart does not grieve about it. So what the eyes do not see, the heart does not grieve about. You see here a picture. We have seen this. This is a rural village blacksmith. When you go to village, even tomorrow you go to a village, you can see these blacksmith working there. And here, take a look at the technology and tools this man is using. The technology and tools this man is using. The primitive one, perhaps he got from his father, and his father got from his grandfather, perhaps. So take the technology. Just take a look at the technology. So what I would say is, when we visit villages, we just watch this and come away. What I say is, observe, discuss with him. Where possible, we need to experience the pain in those in a given occupation undergo. Just get hold of this, and you can try your hand also there for some 10-15 minutes. We can see, and then innovation will automatically flow in our mind. Innovation will automatically flow in our mind. So when you write proposals, I find also in some of the proposals, one weakness we have is like, for someone with a hammer in hand, everything would look like a nail. They say there is a saying, for someone with a hammer in hand, everything would look like a nail, right? For someone who has specialized in developing a mobile app, and he or she has a tendency to think that anything can be solved through a mobile app. So there are many mobile app applications, mobile app proposals coming, that any village problem that you have, any rural problems that you find, that through a mobile app you want to solve. This is another weakness we have when we write proposal. That's the reason I say that observe directly, discuss with the people, talk to the people, find out really what they want, and then accordingly we can float proposals to UBA. So what we can do as higher education institutions is, we cannot bring about a big transformation in the village just because there are departments meant for that. Like there is the Department of Rural Development, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Panchayati Raj. There are many ministries meant for that work, and they have had, I mean, long cadres of officers and working, right? So what we can do, we can connect the dots as higher education institutions. We can connect the dots, provide the guidance required for solving a problem in its entirety, taking things to the finish line, perhaps by providing the last mile footing, and activities that put to use our expertise by application of technology or management models. So this is what we can think about, right? Connecting the dots, like they don't know some information, some piece of information, some in a subsequent slide, 1 or 2 subsequent slides, I have a piece of information. You can think, if we know this, had we known this information, if we had passed this information to our villager about 1 month ago, they would have benefited a lot. But let me share that piece of information, just in the next slide. But now that's what I mean by connecting the dots, providing the guidance required to solve a problem, just some technical guidance they might need, taking things to finish line, perhaps providing the last mile footing. What I mean by this is that malnutrition has been addressed in that village about 80%. Perhaps if you go to ICDS, if you go to Anganwadi in that village, you might come to know that 80% of the children are okay, well nourished, but about 20% of the children are not malnourished. So how do we address this problem for these 20% of the children? That's what I call finish line, right? And giving the last mile footing, right? So that is about innovation. And when we talk about social innovations, I was mentioning that it comes from fictional stories into which we infuse life, often with a set of rules and social norms I mentioned. If required, we write these rules stories using lawyers, I said. For example, this would give a clarity on why I call these fictional stories into which we infuse life or rules or social norms. One example is I can give is all our religions are social innovations. I hope you agree. All our religions are social innovations created for certain purposes to bring about order in the society. In order to give life to it, we created Bible, we created Quran, we created Gita, and so on. Right? So this is a social innovation, social creation to bring order in society, for example. Another example we can take is democracy. Our democracy itself is a social innovation against dictators and kings who created lopsided rules, right? So we created a social innovations against that. So we infused life into the story. This is social, I mean, democracy as a story. We infused life into the story through a set of rules which we call Constitution of India, Constitution of United States of America. Right? So we created democracy as a social innovation, I mean, in a large scale. If you, in a macro sense, if you see currency itself is a social innovation that came out of stories like this, that it is a social innovation, that yes, I accept this, you accept that. So it holds good even for passport or visa or even football and cricket as well. If you see all these are all played with a set of rules, right? All these are played with a set of rules and social norms. If we refuse to accept the rules of the game, when you are playing football, right? When India is playing for cricket, if India is playing cricket against England and India should agree to the same rules, right? Same norms. Otherwise, there cannot be a game, right? There cannot be cricket. So if we refuse to accept the rules of the game and the accepted social norms, they cannot exist. So this is what I call social innovations, in the sense, in a macro sense, to come to our point, to just enable you to understand what do I mean by social innovations. Our national flag, national emblem, national anthem, all these are our innovations only. Our innovations to reinforce this idea, to make people believe, yes, this is something I need to abide by, respect, right? So if you go at a micro level in villages, you will find, if you go to villages, you will find chit funds. Chit fund is a social innovation, right? There are banks, but you will find chit funds there running. Chit fund is a social innovation you might see in the villages. When an old story is likely to fade, we write a new story. For example, credit cooperatives were there. This is another story. Credit cooperatives were there, and they were generally a failure. They are there also. They are generally a failure. Then we created a new story called self-help groups, right? And if you see the concepts, If you see conceptually what is a credit cooperative, what is a self-help group, and they are one and the same, almost similar. They are one and the same. They are one and the same. But when we think that one story is fading, credit cooperative, that story is fading, that then we need to rediscover this story. We rediscovered it with another name, which we call self-help groups. So self-help groups are there. They are vibrant in the villages when we go. This is also a social innovation. This is also a social innovation. And I would suggest you to read Banker to the Poor by Mohammed Yunus to understand how he created this story, self-help group story, the man who propounded this idea of self-help groups, and Nobel Prize winner in peace. Another milk producers of Gujarat, this is another, right? Amul, just in a small village or in a small district, it started in Gujarat, and now we know that this is a well-known story, the taste of India. They are showing the taste of India to all over the world, Amul, right? So this is a small story created, social innovation like, created by one Dr. Kurian and his team. And now you find Amul all over the world, right? And competing with multinationals like Nestle, right? That's a social innovation. Milk producers cooperative there, self-help groups there, and micro enterprises in the villages. So, I mean, we need to create a set of rules. We need to create a set of rules, and within this we will function. It can be a cooperative, it can be a self-help group, whatever. So, social innovations. And another example that we come to our point is Gram Panchayat is another such social innovation, born out of the Constitution of India. Constitution of India gave birth, again, another 73rd constitutional amendment, we say, right? So Gram Panchayat came through that. So we have Gram Panchayat, and UBA provides 50,000 at the maximum, or rupees 1 lakh fund to implement your innovations in the villages. And we think it is too small money. We think it is too small money. Sometimes it happens also. They have raised questions when I was present in the meeting within the IIT Delhi. They raise questions. PIs raise questions that this is too small. And when they float proposal, also they float proposals for more than 1 lakh sometimes. So is it now? I am just showing you here. You can see 14th Finance Commission Fund. I don't know how many of you, because you are in technical institution, I don't know how many of you know that we completed our 14th Finance Commission by April 2020, and then March 2020, and then April onwards we are supposed to have 15th Finance Commission Fund coming. Right here, what I show here is in the column, in the middle column, you find unspent balance from the 14th Finance Commission from these states, from Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha. Unspent balance with these state governments. Unspent balance in the sense this is money that should have been spent in the panchayats, but it remains even on 1st April. Even on 1st April, it remains there with the state governments there. It should be used for the purpose of village development, panchayat development. What I mean to say is there is plenty of fund available. Like you say, 1 lakh I have, 50,000 I have. What I should implement? You don't have to worry about fund. Fund is available with every state government, and it is possible. It can go. And here you see the next column. I show 15th Finance Commission Fund that they are likely to get in July. Now in July they will be getting this amount. This is only about untied fund. There is tied fund, untied fund, and what I show here is only untied fund. Why I show only untied fund is, and this is fund that the panchayat can spend in whatever way they decide. In the sense, they can choose their priority. They can choose their priority and plan for that. And it is not tied that you must use this fund only for school building. It is not tied to any specific purpose. It is untied fund, right? So let us forget about the 15th Finance Commission Fund. I will come to that a little later. I'll just take up only the 14th Finance Commission Fund, because the next is very relevant again. That piece of information I was telling you, that if you had about 1 month before, it would have been very useful. And COVID, Madam was referring to COVID. This panchayat offices in the villages, village schools and Anganwadi buildings, and the self-help group buildings, community halls, they were in the villages, they were all used as quarantine centers because of COVID. All these were used as quarantine centers. And immediately when they started using this as quarantine centers, and there was a communication from the Ministry of Panchayati Raj saying that so much unspent money is with the panchayats, with every state government, and this money can be used for generating employment to those in the villages in the isolation centers and quarantine centers. These are people, they are going to be there sitting for 15 days or for 20 days. They will be there in the isolation centers and quarantine centers. Which is an isolation center there in a village? It is a panchayat office or a school building or an Anganwadi building. That's an isolation center, right? So what the government is saying, the unspent balance from the 14th Finance Commission fund may be used for repairing and renovation of such buildings where these migrant workers are asked to be in isolation. It can be a school building, Anganwadi building, whichever building where you have accommodated them, and it might require some kind of renovation, and use them, because many of these migrant workers, you find they were employed as construction workers mostly in many places outside, and they have come back now. And so instead of using them in the 100 days employment NREGA program, better you use them. You don't think about money, because there is unspent balance with the state governments. I have given only 7 state governments here, because just for example I gave, because it is there with every state government. It is there with every state government. Unbalanced money is there, and use that money, and let them use until end of June. Use that until end of June, and then within this 2-3 months time, you can renovate the buildings there. You can renovate. One is you can renovate the school buildings, Anganwadi buildings, and community hall, all that. That way, you are also generating employment to the migrant workers. So this was there. This is a small piece of information. This is what I call connecting the dots. This is what I call connecting the dots. This, I don't know if this information, to what extent it reached the village panchayats, and if they really implemented, in how many places they implemented this government order. I don't know. But this, if we keep track, if we are alert enough, if we are keeping track of the Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Panchayat Raj websites, and whatever decisions that come, we'll be able to capture such things immediately, pass it on to the adopted village, and they can make use of this immediately. Otherwise, getting approval for this one after if you have unspent balance, and getting approval for this later on, it is a very, very laborious work. And when they have asked already, then it becomes very easy. So such things, that is what I call connecting the dots that we can do. And what we can possibly do in the UBA villages, and this just thinking that to show the possibilities, what we can do as higher education institutions in the villages. One is, for example, I come from a computer science department. I don't know, I have no idea what I can do in a village, because computer villages have very little to do with computer. I don't know what I can do, and you have a lot of things to do. One is, every village is supposed to prepare Gram Panchayat development plan. Every village is supposed to prepare a Gram Panchayat development plan. They prepare a village level plan, some plan they prepare. But the problem now is, recently, in the last 2-3 years, there is a portal called e-Gram Swaraj portal, and every village, almost every village has a computer, and they have perhaps internet connectivity also. Perhaps, yes, they are supposed to have, otherwise we can help them have internet connection. But this plan must go into the e-Gram Swaraj portal for the panchayats to be able to get the funds from the government. All village level plans are tied to specific schemes, and funds must go into e-Gram Swaraj portal. I mean, for them to get funds, it must go into their plan must go into the e-Gram Swaraj portal, so that the panchayat can get funds. But they do not know this. This is one place that you can pitch in, really do a lot of work there. Ask if they have prepared a village level plan. If they have prepared a village level plan, and you can help them upload in the e-Gram Swaraj portal. And for this, before going there, you should have done your homework, that go into e-Gram Swaraj portal, and what is that portal, all that we need to know. This is one, Gram Swaraj. The second is, there is another software called PriyaSoft. They call PriyaSoft. This is a software related to funds and accounts of panchayats. In the sense, now it is only an electronic fund transfer taking place, because the government is very much against this corruption being reported all over, even in NREGA, all that. So they are very particular that only EFMS, electronic fund transfer, will be done. Only electronic fund transfer will be done. This is done through PriyaSoft. They have one software called PriyaSoft, and now this is not known to the panchayat. They heard about it because there was a meeting held where they mentioned about PriyaSoft, EFMS, all that. But these people, I don't know to what extent they grasped this idea. But you understand this better as a computer science department, so you can understand this and you can help establish a e-panchayat there. You can this can be your proposal that I want to establish one e-panchayat where all these will you will help them in doing all these. Right. So this is one, I mean, possibility that I don't know if we have tried this before. Otherwise, this can be one. And the electrical department, our IAS officer was mentioning also. Every farmer uses pump sets for irrigation and electrical power for irrigation. In every village, there is piped water supply where pumping of water to over a tank takes place. And what type of pump sets are they using? Have we can to go and see what type of pump sets are they using? How efficient are they? How old are they in terms of yield, energy efficiency, maintenance? What is your rating about it? And can solar or other renewable energy sources serve the purpose? And is there a way to reduce the power bill? And if you go to any panchayat, if you go to any village, and you ask them where they spend most of their money, they would say we spend mostly in water supply. Meaning is that they spend mostly in water supply by paying the power bill. You can, if you go deeper, you understand that they are getting money from the Ministry of Rural Development or getting money from Ministry of Panchayati Raj. The panchayat is getting, and then they are transferring it to the Department of Power or Electricity Department. That's what is happening, right? Can you help them reduce the power bill by seeing the efficiency of the pump set they have, and they are regularly daily pumping 1 or 2 times, filling the overhead tank or reservoir, underground reservoir, and they are wasting also sometimes. Can we do something about this? This is another. And then civil engineering, this is another area we can think of. Civil engineering, like you find in any village, some streets get a lot of water and other streets don't get water. So that's what I call equitable water supply is not taking place. There is no equity in water supply, right? So all the streets don't get equal supply of water, equitable supply of water. So I heard about it. One of the engineers, I heard about it from him that there is something called a ferrule wall. There is something called a ferrule wall, and that which you see in the picture. If you fix this one, and where the water flow overflow is there, it controls in such a way that wherever overflow is there, it controls so that the water reaches all the streets, so that the water reaches all the streets. So can we intervene something like this, doing something like this in the water lines, and to ensure equitable water supply in the sense that all the streets are getting equitable water supply, right? Is this possible? So this is another thing that we can think of. And the civil engineering, again, there are wastewater going on the streets. You would find when you go to village, sometimes we jump and go. So instead of doing that, can we propose something like this? In a village, a panchayat president, he has used his own idea. And he has just a simple soak pit. He has constructed a simple soak pit. Maybe it costs some 4,000-5,000 rupees. And his idea, he has used a small box here, junction box like that. You find, which he calls a silt chamber. Whatever silt that comes, it gets trapped here, only wastewater goes in there, he says. So this is another, many simple ideas that we can implement, because the priority of the government is also now giving water supply to every household. Giving water supply in the sense, piped water supply connection to every household. Imagine if every household got piped water supply connection, see the amount of wastewater that is going to come from every household. Right? So we need to have facilities in place to be able to accommodate that. And we have this water quality problems, right? So this is another thing we can take up: water quality, testing the water for quality, and then see the potability of the water. If it is safe to drink the water, safety of the water, we can ensure. And chemistry, if we are involved in chemistry, we can also see the government now has plans for plastic waste management units. Plastic waste management units be created, and there is fund 16 lakhs given. 16 lakh fund is given for creating that unit. But the thing is, you must have some understanding of plastics. I mean, Gram Panchayats must have some understanding of plastics. There are many grades of plastics and it all cannot be mixed up. So people need orientation, or those who are going to be involved in a Gram Panchayat in a village, they need orientation. They need orientation on identifying which is which plastic belong to which classification. They need to know that. At least 2-3 people can we train them in this, and this is another possibility we can think of. Once this is done, and the next stage the government will take over, like their plastics are made into granules, and these granules are made into products. That's all not our business, but we can we at least collect the plastics, put in place a system in the village and train the people to collect the plastics separately and then classify them in the proper order and then hand it over to the recyclers. Is it possible? This is another possibility, right? And horticulture, agriculture is said to be non-remunerative and is not profitable. We hear often of farmers' suicides and all, but at the same time there is also statements coming doubling the farmers' income, right? One side you say it is not remunerative, the other side you say doubling the farmers' income is being attempted. So can you introduce some new technology, seed varieties or choice of crops in alignment with the seasons, appropriate use of post-harvest techniques to double the farmer's income? Just let us experiment, and if we are from an agriculture college, we can experiment with a few farmers. You can prove or disprove this. Is it practicable or a mere political statement? Doubling the farmer's income, is it just a mere political statement, or it is just a fantasizing myth, or is it reality? If you prove that it is a reality, doubling the farmer's income is possible, it is a reality, then you have achieved something great, and that can be replicated in other villages. And you don't have to work in several villages, just 1 or 2 villages, take a set of handful of farmers and experiment that your aim is doubling the farmer's income. Show with some 20 farmers, 50 farmers that it is possible, and this can be replicated, right? This is another. And there is a lot of agricultural waste coming, there is a lot of agricultural waste coming. And what do we do about this? What people do with all these? So we find agricultural waste being burnt. Like stubble burning is a very serious problem. Stubble burning is a serious problem you have heard from Haryana and other places. So this one, should this be burnt like this? Is there not an alternative, right? So smoke from Haryana agriculture fields affecting Delhi, life in Delhi. We heard about this. So what can we do about this? What can we do with all kinds of farm waste, right? So charcoal, and these are some experiments that are going on. You can think of these things also. Charcoal pellets from biomass, and then paddy husk. Taking paddy husk and then they have made into pellets, and then paddy husk powder being used for chicken feed, and then peanut husk being converted as pellets, and then paddy straw, the paddy straw being used for mushroom cultivation by those in biology. And then there was a question also, arts and science colleges, and they were asking in a previous UBA thing. I come from an arts and science college, and you seem to be supporting more technical things. It is not like that. The government of India aims at putting to use saturation approach to achieving model villages. Saturation approach simply means reaching 100% in every aspect of development. For example, I was mentioning before also, 100% Anganwadi enrollment. 100% Anganwadi enrollment. You might find that about 5-6 children not being enrolled there, not enrolled in Anganwadi. Can we make it 100% enrollment in Anganwadi and say in this village there is no child out of Anganwadi, that is at the age it should be in Anganwadi. Similarly, 100% school enrollment, no dropout, and 100% transition, right, at every level. 100% transition at every level. This is possible. 100% mothers and children are covered under immunization, like Mission Indradhanush. There is a program called Mission Indradhanush, and they aim at this. And then malnutrition free village. Can I achieve a malnutrition free village? And the next is about mosquito free village. Here, one of the panchayat presidents near here in Hyderabad, he is challenging anybody who visits that village. He is telling, it's a model village. He's challenging them that you find one mosquito in my village, I'll give you 5,000 rupees cash award, right? So he has achieved mosquito free village, he claims. No water stagnation anywhere, right? So 100% alcohol free village. There is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment giving money for this. and achieving 100% alcohol-free village. 100% families having savings bank account. 100% of the farmers having soil health card. 100% of the people having Aadhaar card. Right? These are some things that we can think about for science and arts colleges, and this is another problem: dumping waste and hiding it away from the site. This is happening. Can we prepare the community? Can we prepare the community to segregate waste into kitchen waste? I mean, into wet waste, dry waste, and hazardous waste. Is it possible? Our mind is a storytelling machine. That's what I was telling you about. These are, I mean, we need to tell people some fictional stories to convince them, right? So that they segregate waste into wet waste and dry waste or hazardous waste, right? So you can claim that this was the past, and you see after intervention, people have started segregating waste, and they are processing now, treating now the waste in various ways, like plastic waste separately, wet waste separately. We can think of that. And we tell about the ODF story, open defecation free India, ODF story. India has achieved 100% ODF, we claim. But we know that it is not 100%, and there are some households not using toilet, right? Can we convince those people also to use toilets so that our ODF story is real, our ODF story is true, that we have really reached 100%? Is it possible? This is another. Nutrition I mentioned before, and I am almost towards the end of this presentation. MGNREGS, this is a program, 100 days employment program in the villages. I don't know how many of you can guess, how many of you can guess what is the amount of money that is spent on this. It was a year, about 60,000 crores were being spent in the panchayats, in the villages. And now because of COVID, the government has increased that 40,000 crore more. And this year, the allocation is 1 lakh crore to be spent in the villages in this particular program only. This one particular program, government is going to spend 1 lakh crore, right? Can we help here? What we can do is, can we help the villagers to prepare a meaningful shelf of work? For this, the panchayat has to prepare a shelf of work. What and what work you want to take up in your village, and they may not have idea. So we can give them by our transect walk and others, through our PRA methods, we can find out what and what people want in general. Then we can, so that the assets created in the villages using this money, assets created are really useful, and the funds allocated are fully made use of. Like I was showing you unspent balance, instead of showing unspent balance, we can show that the fund has been fully used, assets have been created. And for that, can we enable, this is another. So, and this is about self-employment. There is Root City banks, some banks together, they are running Root City, and they give self-employment training. After the training, the candidates are provided with credit linkage assistance by these banks. Right, the rural youth can start their own entrepreneurial ventures. Right, sometimes we impart a training and then forget about it, but here it is not like that. If we can connect them to Root City, they can get training, and after the training, these banks, because these are run by the banks, the Root City is run by banks, Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, all these banks together, they are running this. So the youth can also start their own entrepreneurial ventures. So all that I am saying is, reach the low-hanging fruits. You are not meant for rural development. Your work is just teaching. You need to take up research. And the third thing is, you are going to the village and doing works in your adopted village. That is your third thing, yes. But what we can aim at is reaching the low-hanging fruits, whatever that is easy for us now. That just a range, I have showed a range of possibilities, and you can see also, think like that also. You can have also a brainstorming in your place, and you can have a list of works that you think you can take up, and also go to the villages. And if you do it in the villages, it will be very, very meaningful, so that you come to know the needs of the villagers, and accordingly you prepare the plan. And for that, there are several modes of working. I just want to tell you one mode of working. I would say that I call that demonstration mode. By demonstration mode, what I mean is, if you have a specific proven model in your college, or prototype of technology that you would like to see how it works in the village, so demonstrate that to the world that it works in your village. You have a more technology, for example, you have developed an innovative water saving technology, or energy saving technology, or microfinance model, or e-governance model, or e-panchayat model, electronic governance model. So if you have done that, then you can see that you demonstrate that in a village, and see if it works in your village also. like it was working in your laboratory conditions, right? So mobile-based market information system can be generated, and then waste management technologies, wastewater management technologies. So demonstrate this in your uh, adopted village and show that it works. That's what I call demonstration mode. You can take up, and then these are some of the priorities of the government, because if you align your work with the priorities of the government, and it is unlikely the villagers ask you for money. It is unlikely, because they know that money is coming with these priorities only from the government through various schemes or 15 finance commission funds. Are I'll show you also in the next slide where the funds are coming from. So here you have ODF sustainability, open defecation free villages, 100% sanitation coverage. The second, you have piped water supply to all the houses, piped water supply to all the households, ensuring 55 liter per capita water. That is what is called adequate water. And then water quality surveillance, testing water quality of water, and then equitable water supply covering all the remote streets also, and recharge pits, rainwater harvesting structures, wastewater management system and wastewater management disposal systems, solid waste and wastewater management systems, technologies and models, right? These are the priorities of the government for the upcoming 3-4 years. So you can pay attention to this more, so that there is no problem of fund for the village to implement, and your fund might not be required, because that can be used for your transport or whatever purposes, right? So I'm just showing you here just some 3-4 schemes only, and how much money is there, because the 50,000 rupees in hand, should not think money is a big constraint. Is for the next 3,60,000 crore is going into the villages from just one mission. This is Jal Jeevan mission. One mission. This much money is going in to the village. And similarly, you have Swachh Bharat mission funds for the next 5 years. It is 1,40,000 crores. And Narega funds, it is 1 lakh crore. I told you already. 15 Finance Commission fund, 60,750 crores. I'm just showing you 4 here. I didn't mention the range of ministries, like Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of non-conventional energy sources. I'm not telling you all the ministries. I'm just telling you 4 schemes from which the government money is going into village. So what I say is science, technology, and management can play a key role in enhancing the quality of life in the villages. For this to happen, you can contribute substantially. All a village needs is your technical expertise, hand-holding, and guidance. This is all is required. They need your technical expertise. They need your hand-holding. They need your guidance. If they ask you how much money you have, maybe there are it is for spend in that village to implement some program. So for that reason, otherwise they might just for a test, they may want to know what purpose you have come with, how much money you have. For that they may ask. Otherwise they don't need fund from you. They don't need money from you. Money is available in plenty. So all the villagers need to establish a trust. This is required in the first place. You need to establish a trust that you are dependable, that you shall not leave them midway. You will make 1 or 2 visits and then forget about that village and will go after 6-7 months. That will not work that way. You need to have at least some constant touch, at least once in a week or once in 15 days. You need to go there, and they must be very sure that you will come next week, right? After 10 days, they must know that. So, but you need to establish that trust, that you are dependable, that you shall not leave them midway, and you can really take UBA, to a long way, and there is a lot of scope for that. So thank you very much, and if this has been useful, I'll be very happy. And if there are questions, I'm happy to take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir wants to ask some polling questions. I request Professor Suresh Mistry to ask the polling question.
Yes, ma'am.
Over to Professor Suresh Mistry.
Yes. Hello.
Stop sharing.
Ramesh sir, can you
That's what I am looking where to stop sharing. Where is this stop share? Stop sharing.
So on the top of the
at the top of that? View options last in that.
Sorry.
In the view options last one. Stop participants.
on top of the screen, you can say view of yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So live is started.
Yes.
When they do one or two of them, if they have any questions, they can ask also, madam.
Okay, sir.
I hope everyone has completed.
Still in progress.
This polling question, it has very little relevance to whatever we were discussing. I
Yes,
give
sir.
this because I just want to show you that there are many good things happening around the world. There are many good things happening around the world, and we are contributing also to that, and we need to contribute more. That's the idea. Otherwise, it has very little relevance, and it is not to test the knowledge also. It is not to test the knowledge that if you know this, if you don't know this. If you had given me this 2 days ago, I don't know also, right? So the purpose is not that. The purpose is not to test the knowledge, just to show you that there are many good things happening around us. And if it is done, you can tell me. I can just tell them. I am not going to ask them. I'll tell them which are the correct answers.
Yes,
I'll tell
sir.
them which are the correct answers, so that they can test themselves whatever they get.
Suresh sir, yeah, just share the results.
Okay. The first question. Yeah. 60%. Okay. The first question: in all low-income countries across the world today, how many girls finish primary schooling? And 57% have said 60%, and that is right. That's the right answer. And the 60% complete. Most girls complete primary level education. So 60% is the right answer. And the second one is, where does the majority of the world population live today? And what is the answer? Okay, this many have got wrong, and many say 71% people, 71 of the participants, 71% they say low-income countries. Actually, it is middle-income countries. So, where does the majority of the world population live? Most of the world population today, they live in middle-income countries, and we have moved away from low-income countries. So that is the second one. And then the third one: in the last 20 years, the proportion of the world population living in extreme poverty has almost doubled, or remained more or less the same, or almost half. Let me check on yeah, here 43% have said it right. Yes, almost halved. It has the poverty level has almost halved in the last 20 years. That's another good thing that has happened. And what is the life expectancy of the world today? And this is, I mean, it is not to test the knowledge of statistics you have. This is just an impression. What impression we have about the world development? That's it. So what is the life expectancy of the world today? And yeah, how many? Yeah, again, people have got, most people have got it right. Yes, it is 70 years. The world life expectancy is 70 years. That's the right answer. Then number 5, there are 2 billion children in the world today, aged 0 to 15 years old. How many children will there be in the year 2100? It is 2 billion. And I think many have got it wrong. Many have got it wrong. It is only 2 billion. It will be the same after 100 years also, after from here to 2100 also, because of the reducing household size, because of the reducing household size generally worldwide. And number 6, the UN predicts that by 2100 the world population will have increased by another 4 billion people. It would have increased by another 4 billion people. What is the main reason? The main reason is there will be more adults. Yeah, I think most people have got this also correct. There will be more adults in the age of 15 to 74. There will be more adults in the world. And then, how did the number of deaths per year from natural disaster change over the last 100 years? How? It has decreased. Yeah, most people, but there is a tie. There is a tie between two answers. But here the right answer is it has decreased to less than half. That is the right answer. Number C. C is the right answer. Decreased to less than half. That is the right answer. But here there is a confusing response from the participants. But the right answer is decreased to less than half. That is the right answer. And how many of the world's 1-year-old children today? How many of the world's 1-year-old children today have been vaccinated against some diseases? How many of children? Oh, here also most participants have got it wrong. The right answer is 80%. The right answer is 80% of the children have got vaccinated, except if you see some of the countries, it is abysmally low, like Afghanistan, for example. It is about 5-6%, right? Some countries, it is abysmally low. When we see the average, it is 80%. It is 80% of the world children, 1-year-old children, they get vaccinated. And then the next one is worldwide, 30-year-old men have spent 10 years in school on average. How many years have women of the same age spent in school? And the right answer is, yeah, many have got it right, 9 years. Yes, you are right. There is one more.
No, sir.
That's all, or there is one more? That's all? Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you all very much for the participation, and I must thank every one of you for your participation, and I must thank MGIT and also Dr. Kiran Chaudhary, the principal, vice principal, for inviting me here. It was great. It was a great pleasure talking to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful session and very informative session. You have covered all the issues related to the rural development. What are the points we have covered to consider while preparing the proposals for the project? Connecting dot is a very good idea for wholesome development. Thank you once again. Participants are having so many questions. I would like to ask some of the questions. May I ask you, sir? May I ask you to?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here very much. I am available.
So I request Professor Priya to unmute Dr. Siddhappa Busnur. Dr. Siddhappa Busnur, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
I'm audible?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes, sir, audible.
Good afternoon to everyone. Hello, sir. We are working on fuel efficient and low cost and low emission solar. And actually these chulas are a part of already the work has been done at IIT Bombay, and that work we are continued to bring it to the level of villagers. So could you help us to whom we have to approach and how to make them successful utilization for the villagers?
But from this session, you should be able to answer whom to approach. You must approach the villagers, right? I say
Yes,
that
we have to approach to the villagers and
no,
how
no,
to penetrate it to that level.
Sir, what I'm saying is that whatever we are proposing, it must solve a problem in the village, right? It is not, that's what I'm just being very blunt. I'm sorry. I'm being very blunt and but not being polite. What I would say is whatever we are creating, it must have some relevance to the villagers. They must need this, right? They must need this. And you are saying low cost. What is that? Low cost is
Low
to do
cost,
with
low
solar.
emission, high efficiency.
High efficiency. What is it? It's a solar or
no? It's not solar. It is a wooden burning cook stoves. Chulas.
Wooden burning cook stoves. I don't discourage you. You can try in one of the villages. And you can see how it works first. How it is appreciated. I would say before you can really contact some agency. I mean ministry or department, because we must see how people take it. Why I say this is, you see, now the government of India, they are promoting LPG, right? They are promoting that we must, in most rural households, they must have LPG connections, and that can be one of the things. I said 100% LPG connection in all the households, right? If you found that in a village about 30-40% people households only have LPG connection, that is connecting the dot. In the sense, can we help the remaining households also to get LPG connection, right? That is what the government of India is at. So whatever we are doing, we need to have some alignment with the government program also, right? So the government is at that, and we cannot be moving in a different direction. I don't discourage you. I don't discourage
their regular activity.
Yes, sir. I appreciate. Absolutely, you're right. The problem is that yes, we have also seen in some of the villages they say that we don't want LPG because they think first cylinder we may get it, but when you want to get the subsequent cylinders, you need to pay 1,000 rupees or something like that. That money, where do we have the money to pay for the cylinders?
Biomass wastage in villages and in agriculture waste, they are using in open burning conditions, and if you give them a solution for effective utilization of that with a low emission. And actually we designed stainless steel cook stoves, and we also designed the mud cook stoves, and we compared the performance such that efficiency has been increased from 30 to almost 50%.
Okay. I would suggest right away. One is KVIC. If the KVIC has some schemes for this is one source. KVIC can be one. The other is Ministry of MNRD, if they have, right? If non-renewable energy sources ministry, if they have some programs, I am not very sure about that. But maybe KVIC has, or MNRD, they have schemes.
Any type of projects will be written by at the platform of IIT or at the platform of NIT, the government will directly accept it. But if we are writing or if we are submitting it through a colleges like RGIT or through the colleges like KJ Somaya College of Engineering, and getting the approval is very difficult.
No, sir, what I would say is that they want people who work. You see, we are working now closely with these departments. I come to know, I find that villages where development is happening, more development is happening, it is only their money keeps on going there. Other poorer villages,
government is also
villages,
the platform from where the projects are coming. Government is looking the platform also from the where the projects are coming.
That is just
our projects are good, but they are only seeing the platform of IIT, NITs, but they are not seeing looking at the platform of RGIT or KJ Somaya.
Then you can see the help of your RCI. You are affiliated to some, you are connected to some RCI, right? Maybe it is one of the NITs or IITs, right? So maybe you can seek their help also. If their stamp can be given also in your proposals, you can float that. If that is the way, you can sell your proposal if you think like that. That's also.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
We also developed waste heat recovery systems. Generally, if you see uh, in your slides presentations, there is a lot of biomass which has been utilized in the form of pellets and other things.
Yes.
And if you use these sources which has been thrown out like rices and other leaves, tree leaves and anything, and that can be used to recover the heat, and that utilized heat can be used for heating purpose and other applications.
Okay.
And we developed a very nice heat recovery devices, waste heat recovery devices.
Okay.
And that also we want to penetrate till to the villages. So therefore we are finding some ways how to make it successful. That's I want your advice.
Yeah, these two immediately, these two only occur to me, sir. And these two only is, I told you about KVAC. You can see if they have some schemes for this, they must have. The other it comes to my mind is MNRE only. You can see these two websites if they have some schemes. Otherwise, it doesn't come to my mind immediately now.
Okay, sir. Thanks. Okay. We'll see. I will get back to you through madam.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, it is one of the participants is asking about is a Gram Swaraj portal.
Yeah.
Can you give the idea about is a Gram Swaraj portal? Sir, please unmute your.
Yeah, it is not. Please, and there is one Gram Swaraj portal. There is one Gram Swaraj portal. These are two things, but please do not go into Gram Swaraj portal. You can go into that. That is about the distance learning programs about rural development. They have, but it is all about distance learning programs in rural development. So it is not Gram Swaraj portal. It is Gram Swaraj portal. This Gram Swaraj portal is about village development plans. They call it GPDP, Gram Panchayat Development Plan. Every panchayat is supposed to prepare a 5-year perspective plan and 1-year operational plan. And this 1-year operational plan must be prepared in Gram Sabha. Perhaps you have heard about it, Panchayat, Gram Sabha, all that. So it must be prepared in a Panchayat level. Whether they prepare with the Gram Sabha or 5-6 people sit together and prepare, that is a different question. But there is a plan prepared for every year, and the prepared plan must go into the GPDP portal. It must be uploaded in the GPDP portal, because whatever plan you are making, you must also connect with this concerned scheme. Like I was mentioning Swachh Bharat Mission, I was mentioning about Jal Jeevan Mission, I was mentioning about 15 Finance Commission Fund. So this must be connected to whatever programs that you want to have, plan you want to implement. It must be connected to one of these schemes available. And if no scheme is available, you have untied fund from the 15th Finance Commission. There you can connect it. And by connecting, it is this all possible only if you open the Gram Swaraj portal and upload your plan there. There it will show how which scheme has fund all that. So it is possible. That's what I'm saying, that you please make note of this. I mentioned Gram Swaraj. You go into the portal, you see what it is, you will understand easily. You will understand easily that you need to upload, every Gram Panchayat should upload their plan there, and it must be connected to some scheme. Right? You please go through this, you will understand, because you are working closely with villages, so you must know. If they ask you also, you must know, yes, I know about it, and I can help you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for your giving the good explanation and clarification of participants' query. Once again, thank you very much, sir. Before formal vote of thanks, I apologize to all the participants for the technical issue on YouTube Live. After this program, we'll share the recording of the Zoom platform. Now I request Dr. Y.S. Patil to propose vote of thanks. Over to Y.S. Patil.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to one and all. I am happy to propose the vote of thanks to our today's resource person for day 1 of 3 days online national workshop on Graminvikas, Honorable Dr.R. Ramesh. Sir, on the behalf of the Institute, MSEDCL Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology, the UBSL RGIT, the organizing committee of this workshop, and all the participants who are the part of today's session, I express my heartfelt thanks, heartfelt gratitude towards you, and I am really thankful you for guiding us in building the strategic plans and the proposals for achieving the rural development in the Indian context. Sir, during your session, You successfully conceptualized nature and the scope for the Indian rural development in Indian context. On the behalf of all, I must say thank you for your ideas and overall guidance that you provided in the session. Sir, I am sure that your knowledge gaining session will surely helpful to all participants in future for rural development. Now I express my thanks to our visionary leader and principal of the Institute, Dr. Sanjay Bokade sir, with the special mention of his support and guidance in organizing this workshop. Thank you, sir. I express my thanks to Vice Principal Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh sir, UBA Coordinator Dr. Kiran Chaudhary ma'am, heads of respective departments, and the faculty members for participating in this session. Lastly, I thank all participants for attending this session in such large number. Thank you all. Before I conclude the day one session, I am happy to announce that tomorrow, Honorable Dr. Virendra Kumar Vijay, a National Coordinator UBA IREDA Chair Professor CRDT IIT Delhi, will deliver the session on rural-urban linkage and socio-economic development, followed by the keynote address of Mr. Sanjeev Karpe, who is the Managing Director, Native Combat Bamboo Products Limited. I invite you all for tomorrow's session. Have a nice day, stay home, stay safe. Over to Professor Suresh for National Anthem and the formal conclusion of today's session. Suresh, sir.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत